ちろん何も知らないまま I love you も唱える尊い輝き集中に夢中で全とこは機械的愛やそんな愛はいらないなカンカン照りの星でピンクが弾けんのない星け潤ってキャンディーの足りないほどパッパッパ次が欲しくてただ吐いた好きなんかじゃ意味もなさないにゃんにゃんな非言語のつるりでハートが一応真実になったってちゃんと愛しではここにはないあなたに触りたいにゃん的愛の終焉にてや全部が嘘になる前にいざうつであなたとにゃん今は私を見てねこの石はドラマチックロマンスチックなのに次ある保証はないらしいにゃんにゃんから来る曖昧な日々とバイバイしないまま返したいことあると痛い妹オペラント2回行こうと触ったって過ぎない愛が欲しいのにゃんにゃん的うつろ魔法は解けないまま I love you は机上の塔にさしていたけど散々求めたいの生と世話にの次まあいや本当は良くないにゃんな非言語のつるりでハートがとかちに舞う寸前なった多分やめられはしないやめたくもないがにゃん的愛の終焉に出会いとか恋が陳腐になってもあなたと出会った理由を探してみるからさねえそらさないでにゃんな非現実のつるりでハートがやっと真実になったらずっと愛を確かめたい二人の世界でにゃん的愛の永遠にできん答え交わし合えるあなたとにゃん分かったような顔してにゃんもっと私を愛してねずっと愛してね
Good morning, everybody. Morning, Dar.
Hey, good morning. How are we doing today? How's everybody?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Can't complain.
You know, it's a good thing you popped on because
why is that?
With our mutual interests, I've got some fun. I've got some fun for you today.
Fun. I like fun.
You like
almost
fun
as much as ice cream.
Yeah, Neil, I have to agree. I've asked Master Sue a dozen times to come on stream with us, and to talk about this. Rama, darling, how you doing today? I hope everything's going good with you and your murder hugs. Dart, do you have any children?
Yes, and grandchildren and other such things.
Okay, that's good. How would you feel? How would you feel if your children went to a school assembly?
We're talking about that thing in Hazard, huh?
And they performed lap dances on school board members and the principal. What would your reaction be?
Well, I don't think I would much care for that.
Yeah. Neither would I. And the sad thing about it is that it actually happened.
Yeah, I did. And they posted on their...
As you can see here. And the superintendent of an Eastern Kentucky school district said appropriate disciplinary action has taken after photos surfaced showing students giving lap dances to staff as part of Hazard High School's homecoming week festivities.
You see...
Now...
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt.
Sure.
I'm going to interrupt you for just a second. So it says after photos have surfaced. No, the photos were purposely posted on their webpage. So yeah, the photos didn't just surface. I just wanted to make that clear.
Okay. Well, just so people know what we're talking about. Let's see. Yeah. Here's one of the pictures. And as you can tell, this is in a school auditorium. And this is a young man giving, well, he's caressing another gentleman's rather large belly.
Yeah.
Okay. His belly's, not quite as impressive as mine, but he still has one. And here's some gentlemen here laughing and clapping, having a good time. Oh, look at this. This is another young man. Yes, these are young men dressed up in bra and panties and leotards and hose and shit. Now, twerking against the groin of the principal. Yes, that is the principal of the school. Raman, I want to know why they haven't all been arrested. This was the staff. This was the principal getting his junk twerked against by a male student. And he seems to be appreciating it. Dar, what you got? I can hear it in your voice. I can hear it in those little clicks coming from your speaker.
Okay, so here's my thought process on the whole thing. These are high school kids. This is definitely inappropriate behavior.
Yeah, there's no two doubts about that. That it could not get any more inappropriate.
Yeah, and I don't understand in this day and age how they thought this was funny, cute, or any of those things. I don't get it, but and I have so many questions about it. I mean, is this something that they've always done that's been going on for years and it's just part of their thing? What are other parents saying? I don't get it. I really don't.
From my understanding, this was a first time this has happened. This was the beginning of a new tradition.
Oh, in that case, then it's definitely. So, okay, so see, as an old Navy guy, right? Whenever we cross the line, which is called the equator.
There's a difference between what adults do
Exactly, and
and
that's the whole point.
and crossing the equator, because I know that tradition.
Yes, the Wad Queen and kissing
Yes, and
Neptune's belly.
and when you have an all-male ship, which is where that tradition started.
Yes.
Okay, crossing the equator for the first time, and you have all these newbies that have never crossed the equator before.
But see, that's a totally different thing than high school kids.
Yes.
And so,
okay, Ramen is joining us.
Sweet. So it makes me wonder.
I think we've struck something angry with her.
Well, yeah. Anytime you do anything bad to kids, you're going to get Ramen riled.
Good morning, Ramen.
Good morning.
You know I didn't do this to you on purpose.
I know. Nobody is stupid enough to do something like this to me on purpose, so I'm good with this.
Okay. No, I hope you're not good with it. I just hope you're good with it.
You know what I mean. Don't go there. You ever heard of casual, like, collateral damage? Do you want to be collateral damage this morning? No. Okay, I just got one question. This was a high school?
Yes.
Yep.
How? Like, fucking how? When I was a kid, you weren't even allowed, and it wasn't that long, maybe a little, well, we weren't even allowed to discuss politics or, hold on, I'm in a call. We weren't even allowed to discuss politics or religion in class. Like, a teacher could get fired for that shit. And one of the, I don't even remember what novel it was we were covering, but, a lot of novels, like from the 1800s and whatever, they have serious references to religion. And we happen to be covering something, and somebody asked a question, and they're like, "Do you agree with that?" He's like, and he's shaking his head. He's like, "For the purposes of this conversation, I am not allowed to discuss religion with you." And he's shaking his head like, "No, but I didn't say it out loud." Yeah. That was the extent of it. How have we gotten so far that everybody thinks this is cool?
Yeah, and that's the point. So the thought, my original thought is one of these teachers or administrators or something, are they former Navy and thought, oh, this will be funny because this is what we did on the ship.
Yeah, I get dressing as a girl to be funny. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
We had a Halloween in my school, and sometimes a guy would go as a cheerleader or something. Yeah, okay, I get it. But still, this is...
And we had the case in my high school where the football players, for one game, during the Friday of a game, the football players wore their jerseys. The cheerleaders wore their cheerleading outfits to school. Yes. Well, there was one game a year where it was reversed. The cheerleaders wore the jerseys, and the boys wore the sweaters of the cheerleaders.
Yep.
That's funny as hell. Okay, that's yeah.
Okay, they didn't wear the skirts; they wore the sweaters.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Okay. And I was one of those that wore the cheerleading sweater to school.
I'm just
and that was cute and funny, and sometimes the guys would wear a wig with bows in it, but that was the extent of it.
It was even funnier watching the cheerleaders play touch football.
I'm just...
Well, our school didn't go that far.
Oh, we did. Yeah, we had a touch football game with the cheerleaders, and the football guys coached the cheerleaders. It was, I mean, it wasn't, there was no tackling. Nobody was ever in danger or anything like that. It was just, it was, and then afterwards you had the Sadie Hawkins dance.
Right. Now I'm going to come back here to a question that I've got about this. All right. And this school board and the teachers and the principal, with all the crap going on in Washington, D.C. right now over And Merrick Garland, he got reamed again yesterday. All right. Over school boards and parents and what parents, getting quite verbal and abusive, and a few idiots making threats. Yes, a few. What made this school board, this school, these principals think that this was something okay to do?
It's an agenda. They're normalizing this shit.
But didn't one of them, just one, sit there and say, maybe this isn't a good idea? Parents are getting upset about this kind of stuff.
Maybe they hired people that have no fucking common sense and lean in this direction deliberately.
See, I don't get it.
And Kentucky, of all places, and a county called Hazard County.
It's just getting weird.
I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around that.
But you know what? It's only male teachers there, where the and I'm not saying as a gender females are better. I mean, we've all seen shit recently, but I'm just, you see, there's not a single female teacher there.
Well, there's not. There's only 3 pictures that I've seen. Those 3 or 4, and they were close up of the male teachers getting the lap dance.
Yeah.
You don't know what was in the rest of the gym.
I want to know if anybody objected to this.
That's it. Did anybody have 2 working brain cells to say, this might not be a good idea, let's cancel this?
And to put it on their website like they're proud of it. Yeah, that's a specific kind of disconnect that I don't, whatever, man.
And where are the parents in this? Did any parents say,
didn't the parents wonder what their boys were doing dressing up like that?
I'm sure they didn't wear those outfits to school. They changed at some point. What I want to know is, did they send out letters saying, hey, this event is happening. Make sure your son has a bra and a jock strap for a good tuck game. And I want to know if they notified the parents this was happening and how it was phrased.
Well, could you imagine the conversation at the dinner table? Hey, Ma, can I borrow some of your lingerie for school tomorrow? I mean,
can you stop by Victoria's Secret and pick me up some red bikinis and oh God.
Yeah, exactly. I see there's so much more to this that we don't know, and it's things that make you go,
No, it's things that make me want to go, oh, get my hatchet, we're going on a road trip.
Exactly. No, it's things that make me go, I'm awful proud of every one of my family members who have decided to homeschool, and I'm going to help them any way I can.
And, for so long, homeschooling had this connotation of being for parents that didn't want to bother taking their kids to school and wanted them to babysit babysit the younger ones and just basically rob them of their education.
Well, that is true. Homeschooling did have that bad reputation for a long time.
And it still does in a lot of the country.
Well, here, the people that, for a long time, people that homeschool, they must be those religious freaks.
That too.
They're religious freaks that don't, they don't want, they're afraid of what their kids might learn in sex ed or something. Well, in a way, that isn't too far off the mark.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you this: if I had known the stuff that was going on, even in my child's school, which wasn't sexual up until high school, if I had known the stuff that I know now, I never would have allowed her to be in a public school past 6th grade, because the schools are fucking horrible now.
When my son was in school and he graduated over a decade ago, God damn, really, it's been that long already.
Right?
Him and he'd come home and goes, and we were talking about things. This is back when the gay marriages were first coming out.
Right.
Issue coming up. And him and I were talking about it. He goes, well, Dad, What's the big deal? They just want to love who they. And I said, son, well, where'd you get that idea? Where'd this come from? He goes, well, we were talking about it in class today, and this is what the teacher said. And it brought up what the points the teachers were making. Well, the next day I was in the school. And this was in high school. And the next day I was in that high school's administration office asking questions. What in the hell are the teachers doing advocating for gay marriage in the classroom?
Yeah.
And I was told it was going to stop that day, that there would be a discussion about it. Well, either the teacher told my son to tell me that they got in trouble and that they weren't allowed to talk about it anymore, and as a way to keep me shut up, or they did get in trouble about it because that subject, as far as I know, it was a dead subject after that.
Good.
Remember, this is the school. This school. It was after this time frame, sometime, that they banned me. Tried to trespass me from all school properties.
Oh, you think that was the reason?
Well, I'm saying that was part of it.
I think it was just you being too involved.
Well,
by their standards.
Yes, that, and they didn't like my. What in the hell do you think you're doing? Or I don't give a damn what they don't do in other schools. How dare you swear at us?
How dare you try to teach my child about sex?
How dare you try to indoctrinate my child into political opinions that I don't approve of?
I actually don't have a problem with gay marriage. If they want to be as miserable as the rest of us, let them. I'm just saying, no, that's a talk that parents should have with their kids. So
I was just using that as an example of
I know
the schools were doing 10 years ago.
I know.
Over a decade ago.
But it's not for the school to do.
And I mean, but I'm still today, how in the hell, with everything in the news, did this school think that this was something appropriate to do?
They know it isn't appropriate.
Are they that freaking brain dead?
They know. I'm very sure they did not make this widespread until the event was over. It's because, as some people say, it's easier to apologize than to ask permission.
Yeah, it's easier to get forgiveness than ask permission.
Yep. Well, if you think that was bad,
it was bad.
You're right. That was bad. There's no doubts about it. Okay. How about a college professor stepping up a little bit on the school system here? Okay. Let's listen to this woman for a minute.
The real sort of issue here, and I've heard people sort of say it, is one, I think that white people viscerally fear. It's not that white people don't know, right, what they have done. They know. They fear that there is no other way to be human but the way in which they are human, which is to, so, like you talk to white people, and whenever you really want to have a reckoning about it, they say stuff.
Okay, now, first of all, how many times is this here is a Rutgers college professor being interviewed by The Root? All right. Now, imagine somebody getting out there. Well, you know how black people are. Black people think this. Black people are like that.
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, this is racist to start with.
Oh yeah.
That if you were to reverse that and have two white people saying, "Well, you know how those black people are."
Oh yeah.
Of it's just human nature. If y'all had all of this power, you would have done the same thing, right?
Y'all.
And it's like, no, that's what white humans did. White human beings thought there's a world here and we own it. Prior to them, Black and brown people have been sailing across oceans, interacting with each other for centuries without total subjugation, domination, and colonialism.
Are you fucking kidding me?
That's not even close to right.
But this is what a Rutgers College professor is teaching her students. If she's bold enough to say this on the route, think what she's saying in her classroom.
Ugh.
What a show this iteration of treatment of other human beings means, and that my hope is that we would do it differently, you know, in the moments when we have some power. We will not do it perfectly, but I do think that all of us can sort of agree that a politics that says like there are superior and inferior human beings just isn't the way to go.
Wait,
I don't think she's supposed to be teaching history. I think she's supposed to be teaching gender studies.
Now, think about this, though. Okay, she's already, she just said, that that they don't believe there's superiority, right? But her comments up to this point was nothing about how superior blacks were. Remember, black and brown people interacted without colonialization. But white people, they have to, they're evil. So, right there, she's given lie to her own comments right there.
Baby. Mommy. Give mommy the eggnog. Thank you.
You don't get eggnog unless everybody gets some. You better
come on over, y'all. It's going to be one of those mornings.
Hey, speaking of eggnog, have y'all tried the Fireball eggnog?
They're not selling it anymore. I was looking for it.
Oh, man, I just picked up a bottle of it last Friday.
It's not even listed in the friggin' grocery inventory anymore.
I haven't seen it.
I did see it, and I wish I'd tried it before if they took it off the shelf.
Yes, yesterday I had a bowl of cereal and getting kind of low on milk. So I added the Fireball eggnog to my Raisin Bran.
I bet that was some good shit because, raisin and cinnamon and...
Oh, yeah. That was real good stuff. I wish I hadn't used any milk.
Okay, wait, just for the record, though. It's Fireball flavored. There's no actual alcohol in it?
That is correct.
Okay.
Or else they wouldn't be able to sell it like in the grocery store. They'd have to.
No, they could.
Well, yeah, that's true. But
they
no,
just have to show ID.
It's just flavored. There is no. Yeah. Now they do tell you to kick it up a notch. You add some Fireball.
That would be me.
Yeah, that would be me too.
Well,
all I have is
it's probably better that I don't try it then.
Aww.
But anyway, back to this professor here. Got sidetracked when your kids start talking about eggnog.
Sorry, I really need something this morning because this is not going well.
That's all right. That's all right. It is what it is.
And that's the thing that white people don't trust us to do because they are so corrupt. Their thinking is so morally and spiritually bankrupt about power that they can't they fear viscerally, existentially letting go of power because they cannot imagine that there's another way.
I could say so much, but it would come across as racist, so I'm shutting my mouth.
Go ahead. This woman is as racist as hell.
She's not. She needs to look at some fucking statistics as to what kids get picked up by CPS and who's the majority in certain jails and the statistics of violent crime and all that shit where she starts talking shit about anybody. That's all I'm saying.
Now, if y'all want to listen to the rest of this woman's diatribe, that is only about 5 minutes long here, and this is only portions of her.
None of what she's saying has any basis in fucking reality
or fact.
But I just put the link in the chat. Okay, this is just a link to her the Twitter. All right, it's not a link to the whole thing. But yeah, that woman, and I mean it's on the route, so we know that there's racism involved anyway, with it being on the route. Period. If I remember right, wasn't it the route that said the force was black?
Yeah.
I thought it was female.
Oh,
I can't keep up.
yeah.
I don't know why you'd want to, but it's just me.
I don't. I was just. God damn it.
This stuff is ugly. This is ugly. And speaking of the Force, okay,
Good segue.
Yeah. Well, we're going to visit Miss KK.
Uh-oh. Yes,
Okay.
bitch.
Oh,
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't listen to it yesterday.
Well, fortunately, it's short. It's only 22 seconds.
Well, that's good.
You know, there's always going to be people when you
Did the sound come through?
Yep. Sounds come through good.
All right.
make something that's somewhat controversial that are just flat out not going to like what you're doing.
Right.
And we didn't make the movie for them.
Okay. All right.
That's that are just flat out not going to like what you're doing.
Right.
And we didn't make the movie for them.
Plain
That
simple.
ultimately, if that's their response is to just cut it off and not even try, you know, there's always going to be people when you make something that's somewhat controversial that are just flat out not going to like what you're doing.
Right.
And we didn't make the movie for them.
We didn't make the movie for them.
But nobody ever says
Yeah.
who they made the movie for.
Oh, yeah. See, here's the thing. They're making the movie for their peers. They're, you know, the other betters than us, you know, mere fans. And so they're doing it to impress their peers. They have no concept what, you know, or care what the fans think. And this just proves it. So therefore, yeah, I'm pretty much not going to spend a dime on any of that stuff.
There were only 3 movies and a glorious holiday special, and that's all I care about.
You know, I have never seen the holiday special.
Oh my God, we need to watch. It's so fucking awful and wonderful at the same time. Elderly
God.
Wookiee porn.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's all I'm gonna say, man. It's fucking great. You gotta watch it drunk though. Drunk or high, you gotta watch it. Like,
Well,
completely
being
fucked
as
up.
I don't get high,
Me neither. But I do get stoned on my allergy pills. Watch it.
yeah.
Have a few shots and watch it and kick back and just wait for the horror to drift over you. It's fucking awesome.
Well, I know,
know,
it's on
Roman, you're-
YouTube. I've seen it out there, but I tried to watch it, but the video was so bad.
Yeah,
it hurt my eyes to watch it.
It never got to VHS or DVD. It's not even on the Disney Plus channel. Can't imagine why.
Well, Ramen, you're a much more twisted person than I thought you were.
You have no idea.
Oh,
That just makes me like you more.
It's everybody saw that fucking special, Sean. It's the best thing ever. I was so little. I'm like, this isn't Star Wars. What is this?
It's not the best thing
Well,
ever, Sean.
I must have been in Germany when that came out because I never saw it.
When was it? 79, 80? It was before
Okay.
Empire Strikes Back.
Okay, yeah, I was in Germany. That's probably why I never saw it. And then by the time I got back in '84, it was dead to the world.
I didn't really absorb it a lot as a kid. I vaguely remember Diane Carroll as a hologram, and I went back and watched it as a grown up, and I'm like, how is this not on every fucking year, twice a year? Once for the Star Wars anniversary, and again for Life Day. We need to make this a thing. And it's fucking beautiful.
We do not, but that's fine.
Poor Tar is still traumatized.
I'm not.
Roger Corman dressed as like an intergalactic Julia Child, and the voice and everything is fucking beautiful.
Okay.
This poor guy.
You remember we were talking the other day or last week about In-N-Out in California?
Yes.
And they said, we're not going to be a policeman.
Exactly. It's
Right?
not their job.
the CEO said, we're not going to be a policeman. Well, that same In-N-Out that got written up and temporarily closed and such has now been permanently closed.
So they're not going to be able to sell at all.
Right. They can't sell it all. They are that one incident, that one, not all of them, just that one location.
I'm pretty sure all the others are doing the same thing. They're just not vocal about it.
Well,
because they're franchises, right?
I don't know.
Not all of them,
don't know if they're franchises or if they're all corporate owned. But yeah, they've got something like $2,000 in fines, and because they got fined 4 times, that's why they closed the location down.
They should do a Kickstarter for the fine money. They'd have it the first hour.
In-N-Out can afford to pay $2,000.
I don't know. I just said I don't know if it's a franchise or not. So
some of them are.
Yeah.
Some of them are not. So that being said,
now this is the one in Contra Costa County. Say that real fast 3 times. Contra Costa County.
Contra Costa.
You forgot the county.
Contra Costa. Yeah, whatever. Contra Costa County.
I love it.
But what they're saying is the reason for the closure is that In-N-Out associates were not actively intervening by demanding COVID-19 vaccine or testing documentation and photo ID for each dine-in customer before serving them.
Are you you need ID to eat in the fucking, that's racist.
Well, yeah, because you've got to. How do they know that that's not somebody else's car?
If they got a mask on, yeah.
I thought it was racist to ask for ID.
Yeah. Well, that's what the story is.
This is such bullshit. This is such total bullshit.
So, do we want something funny here? Is this a good time for a small palate cleanser or not?
Please.
Oh,
Leia has a huge coke nail in that special. Yes, she did, Jaeger.
Okay. Now, I know this got showed other places, but it's still, I've got to show it here. Whoa, wait a second here. Okay, I know some other people showed this the other night, but I'm going to show it again because, well, I burned Johnny on it. Johnny.
Oh no.
Out. Yeah.
If Johnny's freaking out, I'm not sure about this all of a sudden.
I am. It's fun to screw with Bonsaco.
It is.
Get their foreskin trimmed. Just like I was today years old when I found out that guys have to go into their doctor monthly to get their foreskin trimmed. Just like a month. I was today years old when I found out that guys have to go into their doctor monthly to get their foreskin trimmed.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
What?
Yeah.
Where did somebody's fucking with her. Where did she find this out from?
Yeah, well, that's what I want to know.
My question when I posted that is, was this a Poe? Or was she truly that big of an idiot?
It could go either way these days.
Yeah, that's that's news to me.
Nobody knows what she knows.
I really think that's a coin flip. It could go either way.
Yeah, it could. I mean, I still think she might be a Poe.
Are we really sure that's a palate cleanser?
Are we sure? Yeah. So, is that a palate cleanser for what exactly?
Well, it was different than talking about politics for a minute. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
see, I'm not
it
convinced.
is 180 degrees from politics.
I think you're screwing with us. I do.
Well,
I
I
seriously do.
could be. Well, I could be doing that too.
Are
Oh
you
wow.
are you trying to be the new Bonsaco or something?
No,
Oh God, no!
No.
Please.
no. I'm sorry. I'm not that twisted.
No, you
I don't
have to
think.
be seriously twisted
I don't
to
think
do
the
Uh,
that.
internet can
and
handle
I
new
like
Los
to think I'm a
Tacos.
little more. I'm a little nicer to my friends. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like. I mean, I don't mind throwing a twist every now and again. I
Yeah,
just
just because
can't do
keeps
it
us
like
on our
he
toes,
does.
right?
Huh?
Just keeps us on our toes, right?
Yeah, just every now and again throwing something in there that will spin a noggin, but not not. I tell you, Johnny. I feel sorry for Moo sometimes.
He's such a good boy. That's
Yeah,
my mantra.
but he's
He's a
he,
product of his parenting. That's all I'm saying.
he's developing a warped sense of humor.
He's already had that.
Look how he grew up. Just saying.
He is a true
Well,
product of his parenting.
yeah. Okay. Um, I've got uh, I've got one more thing here about Garland and the school boards, and then I'm going to be done with that because it's just at this point,
He doesn't know anything.
Garland has gotten to the point now where it's a joke, and all they're doing is they're just beating a dead horse at this point. The Senate and the Senate's just beating a dead horse. But Ted Cruz, he's getting some rather bad press for this line of questioning, and
Fuck that!
And I want to hear this. I want y'all to hear the questions and the statements as they actually happen compared to what the press is. Okay? So here we go.
Sir, yes, sir. We're going to listen to him.
Make sure that audio come through.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Let me ask you something, General Garland. In the letter, which you told the House of Representatives was the basis for this abusive memo targeting parents, how many incidents are cited in that memo?
I have to look back through the memo. I can't count it.
You don't know. How many of them were violent?
Again, the general report.
How many of them were violent? Do you know?
I don't know.
You don't know. There's a reason you don't know. Because you didn't care, and nobody in your office cared to find out. I did a quick count just sitting here. During this hearing, I counted 20 incidents cited. Of the 20, 15 on their face are nonviolent. They involve things like insults. They involve a Nazi salute. That's one of the examples. My God, a parent did a Nazi salute at a school board because he thought the policies were oppressive. General Garland is doing a Nazi salute at an elected official. Is that protected by the First Amendment?
Yes, it is.
Okay. 15 of the 20 on the face of it are not violent. They're not threats of violence. They're parents who are unhappy. Yet, miraculously, when you write a memo, the opening line of your memo, in recent months, there has been a disturbing spike in harassment, intimidation.
I love that man.
Yeah. You got to dig Cruz, man.
I'd totally be okay if he really was a Zodiac killer at this point. I'm good with it.
Well, I'm not going to go that far, but
No, I'm going that far. Just as long as he keeps doing what he's doing in Congress, I'm good.
yeah, he is doing a good job. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I really like him, but one question I got is where in the hell is his follow-up? He's great at the firebrand speeches, but where's his follow-up afterwards?
Where's his actions to support his words?
Exactly.
What can he actually do, though? Other than vote, what can he do?
Where are the bills? Where are his bills that he's submitting to take care of this?
You know it'll never get passed.
I don't
No,
care
that's
whether or
not
not it
the
gets.
that's not the point. The point is that he needs to write a bill every day, every day, every day, every day, and he needs to stay on it. He's great at, like you say, asking the tough questions, making the good speeches, but where are the actions?
Where are the actions? I mean, we've got people like AOC that get out there and they make the news every night or 3 nights a week. You know, leading a protest, doing all kinds of actions outside of the Congress and pushing that public opinion. Where's Ted Cruz in doing this kind of stuff? I mean, what's going on? What goes on inside the Senate in these hearings? That may get him a 10-second soundbite on the news, maybe. But it'll be like what the news was on this, where Ted Cruz defends Nazi salutes. Ted Cruz supports Nazi salutes. That's how the press has been portraying it. Okay. There was nothing in there saying about Garland supporting Nazi salutes, which he did, or Garland defending Nazi salutes, which he did. It's all about Ted Cruz doing it. And that's one of my problems I have with, that's a massive problem with the press. They're lying son of the bitches.
They're not really journalists anymore. They're the media.
Right. But Cruz needs to be getting out there and doing something besides the firebrand speeches in the Senate. That is not getting, that there's no follow-up to. That's just my personal opinion on this.
There aren't even many people going this far. I think he's vastly outnumbered.
Yeah.
The Senate's not, he's not vastly outnumbered in the Senate. No. The numbers give lie to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Then why is he the only one doing this? Why is he the only one this aggressive? I mean, I saw the other guy the other night.
No, he's not. I could pull up right now if we wanted to keep on the Garland subject. I could pull up another 24, at least another 6 or 7 House members or Senate members, rather, saying the exact same thing. They're for the past 3 days, Garland has been getting his ass handed to him over that memo.
So how do they get his job then? If everybody's disapproving of him, how do they get him out?
They don't. They can't.
They can't.
He is a presidential appointee.
That's my, they need to appeal Biden then and Kamala, because this is a fucking wreck.
But as long as the Democrats have that 1 vote majority in the Senate, which is what they've got, that they can't do nothing about it.
So his hands are pretty tied.
Yes.
Which is what I was trying to start out with, but I didn't say it very well.
No. His hands are definitely tied. Don't get me wrong. And
so really all he could do is just get up and scream and spit in the wind.
Well,
until things change.
He can yell into the wind, but he does need to take more actions and submit bills and do other things like that. And the thing of it is, I have a really hard time getting really behind a lot of the Republicans. Well, I'm going to say all the Republicans, because when they didn't have the Senate or the House, they kept saying, we're going to repeal and replace Obamacare. That was a mantra. So what happens? We flip the House and Senate. Republicans are in charge. They did not replace Obamacare. They did nothing. They sat on their hands.
All right. Now, can I take a stab here? One thing here. Remember who was Speaker of the House at the time?
Yes, I do.
Okay. A piece of shit named Ryan.
Yep.
who was an avid anti-Trumper. You can blame Republicans all you want, all right? Because first of all, because they put Ryan in as Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
All right. But when this, just like Pelosi right now, there is a massive bill waiting to be voted on in the House, and Pelosi won't do it because she doesn't like it.
Yeah.
That passed the Senate. Okay. The Speaker of the House has all that authority, and what Ryan didn't want to bring up to give Trump anything. Ryan was such a massive anti-Trumper that he was willing to hurt the party.
Yeah, the
to make
repeal and
Trump look
replace
bad.
happened before Trump. This was not even have anything to do with Trump. This happened before Trump.
Oh, you're right. It did. And there
And-
were replacement bills. But when the Speaker of the House refuses to bring the stuff up for a vote, how can you vote on it? How can you repeal and replace when the Speaker won't bring it up for a vote?
So that's the thing of it is, again, I'm just saying that we need to, I have a heart. So that whole incident, put the blame wherever, I don't care. The whole incident just has me, it's hard for me to get too behind any individual in the party.
Well, no,
So I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I how many times have I said I am a registered Republican only because I want to vote in the primaries?
Yeah.
Right? That's the only reason why I'm a registered Republican. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, I was the first registered Republican in my family. I registered Republican under Reagan.
Wow.
Okay. And I've kept that registration only because every state I've lived in has been, if you want to vote in the primaries, you have to be registered either as a Democrat or a Republican. If you're registered as anything else, you didn't have anything to vote on in the primaries because they were all closed primary states. So, I mean, if I want to put somebody in office I want, I've got to be able to vote for them in the primary.
This is true.
And I don't like a lot of these Republicans. I don't support a lot of them, except for the fact they're better than 90% of the Democrats.
True.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when we go in there to vote, we have to vote holding our nose, saying, well, at least he's better than. And I take what I can get. I could be as unhappy as I may be about it. I've got to make a choice between between a full-blown communist and a weak Republican. Well, I'll take a weak Republican over a full-blown communist any day of the week.
Good morning, Becca.
Yeah, Miss Becca's here.
Yeah. All right, and I think I just sort of killed everybody, but
No, that's okay.
Holly, yes, Holly went after Garland about the dad being arrested at the school board meeting. The dad of the child that got Mr. Smith that got his daughter was raped. So there were other Republicans going after him, but again, all right. Okay. Now this here, Dar. Remember, Dar, I said I had something that would interest you.
Yes, you did.
Okay. And Raman, I think this will stir you up a little bit.
Uh-oh.
This was hearings yesterday that got zero publicity. Okay.
recognition.
I move to strike the last charge.
Shroom is recognized.
That audio going through okay?
It's a little low.
Yeah, it's a little low.
Okay, well, that is as loud as I can get it.
Okay.
So I'll whisper.
Mr. Chairman, this red flag law that's being marked up today is unconstitutional. It's hurtful. It's redundant. And I'll walk through each of those here in the brief time that I have. First of all, it's unconstitutional. My colleague already conceded that 17 to 19 states have already implemented similar laws. That's because this is the domain of state law. This is not the domain of the federal government. In fact, the Supreme
I will agree
Okay.
with him 100% on that point.
That is
And I personally believe state laws are unconstitutional myself.
I
But
do as well.
definitely, this is not a federal issue. Dar?
I totally agree. I'm with you 100% thus far.
Court struck down the Gun-Free School Zone Act prior because they tried to use it. Somebody tried to use it for a gun that hadn't been in interstate commerce. And so this bill already admits to its unconstitutionality because 2 places in the bill, it tries to allude to interstate commerce, and it knows that this has nothing to do with interstate commerce. So the authors of
pause.
this bill. So it's unconstitutional because it takes the authority of the states. It violates the 9th and 10th Amendments in that regard, in addition to the Second Amendment. But more importantly,
Now, I like where he went there. Attacked it on its basis of the, trying to abuse the interstate commerce clause.
Yes,
So,
because that has no place in the bill whatsoever, and it's not even. Yeah, that's not even an issue here. I don't even know. It's it's total non sequitur.
try and tie it to something that doesn't, that it has no tenuous ties to.
Yeah, exactly. It's
it
just
violates due process. This is our country has a rich history of protecting due process, where you are innocent until proven guilty. This bill turns that on its head. You are now
All red flag laws turn that on their head. All red flag laws turn it on its head.
guilty until you can prove your innocence. You are deprived of a constitutional right to protect yourself and your family until you can prove your innocence. This is ridiculous and unconstitutional. And here's why it's hurtful. Already, one of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle has said that this will prevent suicides. The problem is it doesn't prevent suicides. People who are having suicidal thoughts will not express those. If this bill they will not tell others that they are having these concerns about harming themselves, because this bill puts them in jeopardy. If they so much as tell a family member or a friend that they are having suicidal thoughts, then they know that their guns will be taken away by the federal government. So there's an incentive now for them to cover this up, to not disclose their thoughts, their hurtful thoughts, maybe to themselves or others.
see, he's also missing another point, and I don't know if he goes into it later, but one of the biggest worries of the red flag laws is if your neighbor, so let's say I'm carrying my rifle case out to the back of my car and my ammo case out to the back of my car. My neighbor goes, "Where are you going?" Well, I'm going to the range. I'm going to practice with my rifle. See, in the case, they don't know what kind of rifle that is, right? But if they think, well, that big scary rifle, my neighbor's going to could call a red flag on me. Look, this guy's crazy. He goes once a week, to the range to hang out with the guys. And, and all of a sudden you have a red flag on you just because your neighbor doesn't like you.
That's many years ago, before I finally got on the proper meds, I've said this before. I could drink a quart to a half gallon of Jack Daniels and still be sober because of how much pain I was in.
Oh man.
All right. I literally, that big $50 bottle of Jack Daniels, I drank. There's one day I drank the entire bottle and I was still sober. And I drank it over a period of about 6 hours. There's no way I should have been able to consume that much alcohol and still been awake, let alone sober.
Yep.
All right. Did I consider suicide? Did I consider taking the shotgun I got and blowing my legs off? Just doing self-amputation? Put that shotgun up behind my knee, boom. End it.
Well, the whole suicide argument.
But the point I'm making is I didn't talk to my wife about it.
Yeah.
About my thoughts. I didn't tell anybody about it. I just didn't carry I moved my guns and I didn't carry my gun for a while. Because I didn't, in a moment of weakness, you do stupid shit.
Yep. Well,
so I took steps to ensure that if I had a moment of weakness, I didn't have my gun with me to do it. If you're going to commit suicide, you're going to find a way to do it. If not, shoot yourself, cut yourself. If not cut yourself, hang yourself. Not hang yourself, step in front of a moving truck or bus.
Yeah, jump off a building, jump off a bridge. See, that's the reason why the whole suicide argument is stupid, because if somebody truly wants to commit suicide, they will find a way. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to use a firearm to do it. So,
Massey's bringing up some good points. He just didn't go far enough there on the suicide. Yeah. He just did not, in my opinion, bring up enough points, but he is under limited time here. So,
yeah. This goes for police officers too, who know that if they lose their right to own a gun, then they're no longer employable, or security guards. So they're going to hold all that inside. They won't seek help. And you will have more suicides because of this, because this bill is going to presume they're guilty until proven innocent. Now, why is this bill redundant and unnecessary? Because every state in the union, all 50 states, have bills that are sometimes referred to as the Baker Act. In Florida, they call it the Baker Act. This allows the state government to go in and commit somebody to a mental health facility, in most cases for up to 72 hours. What's the difference between that legislation that's been implemented at the state level and the legislation being debated today? The difference is that those bills on the books in all 50 states provide help to the person who is supposedly having thoughts of harming themselves or others, whereas this bill provides no help whatsoever. In fact, it goes in and agitates the person who may be having thoughts of harming themselves.
Now, I've seen people put into Baker Act.
Yeah.
All right. And here in Florida, we work with some local groups that help homeless at the hotel I work at, and we supply temporary housing for up to 90 days at a very discounted rate. So that, we still have bills we have to pay, housekeepers and everything else. So, we do have to charge something.
Yeah.
But we're not making a whole hell of a lot of profit off of these rooms that we do allow afford these people. And we've had to have some of them put in under the Baker Act for 72 hours. And some of them never came back. They were confined beyond that.
Yep.
So you don't know. So the Baker Act is something that, you see somebody going nuts, they're going nuts. And fortunately, we've gotten to the point we know how to report the reporting process. And we haven't been wrong yet so far, knock on wood and thank God.
Yeah, and Becca is 100% correct. The red flag laws are not about the Second Amendment.
No, they're not. And they're not, and my point of the unconstitutionality of them is that you are not one. They can take your guns away for up to a year, and that's a year before you're even eligible to apply to get them back. And two, you are not allowed to defend yourself in a court. This is taking somebody else's word. And
Yeah.
okay. And well, you know them well enough, so you must know what you're talking about. Boom, your guns are gone.
Yeah, you're talking about unelected bureaucrats making these decisions for you without any input or without your right to defend yourself.
All right. And like you said, it could be a neighbor that's got a pissing contest going on with you. All right. It could be a sister-in-law that doesn't like you because you wouldn't let her move in your house for 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, angry relatives already weaponize CPS, so this is just another part of it.
Right.
I'm going to skip out on here because politics are obviously not my thing. And
well, I thought
thanks.
the gun issue would be a thing for you.
I'm going to just admit I'm probably not the best candidate to own a gun.
Okay.
But I would like one a lot more than I should right now. So
Ooh.
I'm going to leave that. Take it however you may. Thanks for having me. I love you guys.
Well, don't worry. We're not going to talk bad about you after you're gone, Ramen.
I'm not going to stop watching. I'm just leaving the chat part of the stream, okay?
No.
Okay.
I know what you say, but all I'm saying is we're not going to talk bad about you.
Okay. Now,
I expect it.
Ramen.
Yes.
Remember, tomorrow's a very special Friday morning.
Let's just hope I don't wake up tomorrow and think it's Tuesday. That's all I'm praying for right now. So
I'm downloading special stuff for tomorrow.
Oh, yay! Okay.
Okay.
I'm all excited.
That's
I'm always
because we are
anyway.
special. Don't forget that.
Not shortcut special either. Okay. I'll be in the chat like the rest of the plebs.
All right. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Ramen.
Bye.
And we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Themselves or others. So the state bills are already there. They're already being used. Again, it's called the Baker Act in Florida, but all 50 states have some form of this. And the difference between that legislation and this legislation is it provides help, but it also involves a mental health professional, which is not, that doesn't come into the equation here. And nobody's getting help from this bill. The money that's going to be wasted on hurting people, the money that's going to be wasted on this bill, wasted on taking away constitutional rights of law-abiding citizens who've done no crime. They're going to be convicted of a thought crime, basically, without a jury or a trial until they can prove they're innocent. That money should be taken and used to provide mental health assistance to the people who we are supposedly concerned about. Yet this bill does none of that. It turns our system of justice on its head by making people guilty until they're proven innocent.
Now, that's a very important point that he's saying right there. And this is something I've said about red flag laws from the beginning, is they make you guilty and you have to prove your innocence later. And then the time, like I said, the time limits can be outrageous. Up to a year before you can even take legal action to get your guns back. You know, that's an unconstitutional taking as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it's more than unconstitutional taking. That's illegal search and seizure. That's violation of due process. I mean, there's so many constitutional errors in this bill. And you know what really cracks me up about what he just said?
Huh.
All right. So when I was like in 8th grade in civics class, we were learning about you're innocent until being proven guilty in the American justice system.
Right.
And the example that was used was in Russia, if you're walking down the street, right, and you see like a really cool car, and you know how guys are, we tend to put our hand on the window and look into it because it's
Oh,
a really
yeah.
cool car. In Russia, if you do that and then something bad happens to that car, they find your fingerprints, you're guilty, and you have to prove that you didn't do anything to that car. That's that, and that was what was used between the as an example between um, innocent until proven guilty was being used. And so this is exactly that. This is just, communist way of doing things.
Yeah, this is it's so unconstitutional on basis, and they want to sit there and say, well, it's part of the greater good. This
Yeah,
is
that's
the the general welfare clause, which there's damn few mistakes in the Constitution, but there's two of them that I point to quite often. The general welfare clause, which has been abused time and time and time again. And then the clause in the Section 4, I believe, which allows the which is being abused right now, an attempt abuse by the Congress to federalize elections.
Yep.
There was just too much wiggle room put in there in both of those areas that allows and our forefathers they did a wonderful job with that Constitution. They really did. There's just a couple of minor flaws in there that allow abusive people to abuse it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. Massey did a pretty good job here. All right. I'm going to stop him though. And I want to come over here. Now, this is a back and forth between Nadler and Chip Roy. Now, I don't know how much you know about Chip Roy, if you've ever paid attention to him.
Yeah.
Or anything else.
Yeah, I just keep wanting to call him Chippewa.
Oh, Chippewa. All right.
Chippewa. Because, Patrick Waugh spells his last name R-O-Y.
Okay.
R-O-Y. It's Patrick Waugh.
Okay, let's see if this audio comes through.
Strike the last word.
That the gentleman is recognized.
How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right.
Well, as a gentle lady on the other side of the aisle knows, I too live in Texas. Raised my son, daughter to respect firearms. We shoot them frequently on our property. We shoot semi-automatic weapons on my property. I teach my children how to use them safely. I teach them what they're used for, why we have the ability to have firearms. And yes, we use it for hunting. My son shot his first deer.
Would the gentleman yield for a question?
Briefly.
Yeah, very question. What do you use semi-automatic weapons for?
I use semi-automatic weapons to kill hogs. I use semi-automatic weapons for sport and shooting on our property, but I also have semi-automatic weapons, and I'm getting to the point.
Thank you.
Because a semi-automatic weapon is a weapon that you can use for self-defense. It is a semi-automatic weapon that you can use to defend yourself against home invaders, but also, let's be clear, against tyranny. The gentlelady is talking about the Second Amendment in the context of hunting, as if my rights are reduced in the Constitution to a 410 or a single shot or lever action 22, as if that was what was expressly put forth as.
Now, one thing I don't like he just did there was, saying lever action 22.
Yeah.
All right, now I don't know of many lever action 22s, but I've seen a hell of a lot 30-auxes and 30-30s and 45 lever actions. But I can't remember ever seeing a 22 lever action.
Henry makes a great 22 lever action. Ruger, well, as a matter of fact, one of my first guns was a Ruger lever action 22.
Okay.
Had 10 round magazine, you
right,
put the.
He went to the smallest possible caliber.
Yeah, I don't know what that had to do with anything.
And you don't hunt with a 20. I'm sorry, unless you're hunting squirrel, you
Squirrel
don't
or
hunt with a
rabbit.
22.
Yeah, small game hunting.
I tell you, I would never want to go hunting rabbit with the 22. I much prefer a shotgun.
Ooh, not me.
Okay.
I use a 22 on rabbit all day long.
Okay. Well, I just used a 12 gauge.
No. I would never shoot a rabbit with a 12 gauge.
I'd rather pull pellets out of the meat and know I got meat than try to hit with the 22 and miss entirely all the time, or more times than not.
Well, okay.
All right, you see what I'm saying?
I do, but that'd be a conversation for a different time.
Right. Okay.
How we're supposed to be defending ourselves.
Yield again?
And let me go ahead and finish my time, sir, unless we want to add more time.
Very, very quickly, question.
I need more time. Will the gentleman give me another 30 seconds?
Yes.
Okay, I'll yield.
You said that you could use a semi-automatic weapon to fight tyranny.
Sure.
You mean you'd use it against American troops?
The very existence of the Second Amendment is designed purposefully to empower the people to be able to resist the force of tyranny used against them to step over their natural rights given to them by God. That is why the Second Amendment exists.
Thank you.
That is exactly the reason it exists.
Finally, it's not about hunting. It's about self-defense and defense against tyranny. Thank you. And he's not getting emotional, upset, and angry about it. He's being rather stone cold about it.
That is very specifically why the Second Amendment exists. And let's be very clear about that. Let's rewind the clock a little bit, as I know at least several justices have written in Supreme Court opinions, but about what life looked like in the 19th century and what the government was doing to remove the ability of either slave owners or, importantly, freed blacks, or importantly, whites who even stood up in defense of blacks or against slavery, and the efforts by the South and the efforts by the strong arm of government to remove their ability to have firearms. That is an absolute, undeniable, documented, historic fact in our country. As written by Robert Verbruggen in National Review, and I'm happy to submit this to the record without objection, he writes, "The heart of the problem is that in an effort to stave off rebellion and maintain the racial caste structure that had developed under slavery, state and local governments refused to respect freedmen's constitutional rights. Crucial to the South's efforts were gun control laws that applied to blacks and blacks alone. This does not show that," and it goes on further, I'm going to take too longer, where it goes into the South's campaign against black gun ownership, not surprisingly, began long before the Civil War. Two slave rebellions in the 1820s stoked whites' fears, and in response, many legislatures amended their laws prohibiting slaves from carrying firearms to apply the prohibition to free blacks as well. When the government, and he writes further, and I agree with this, when the government has the ability to forbid gun ownership, It has the ability to render groups it dislikes helpless to defend themselves, regardless of whether modern gun control accomplishes its purpose of reducing crime. And for the record, there is no evidence it does. And I agree with that as well. This is so inherent to the very conversation we're having. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle just blithely dismiss due process. A former judge even saying, arguments about due process. You have the opportunity to be heard after. You have the opportunity to be heard after your rights have been taken away. That's the key issue here. We are absolutely destroying the bedrock principle that your rights are given to you by God and that you can't just have to go to the government to ask permission to exercise those rights. And when
would the gentleman yield for a question? Could I ask Mr. Roy a question? Would you yield for a second?
I need to finish up my time. I already have a few seconds left over from the chairman. I'm happy to engage with you in colloquies later. I would point out that my colleague from Maryland, again, just sort of rolled over the fact that it was very expressed in the Supreme Court's ruling that the Second Amendment protects an individual right to possess a firearm unconnected with service in a militia. My colleagues like to continually try to connect that to militia service, but we all know that what a militia looked like in 1775 and 1776. I appreciate that the chairman gave me a little extra time in light of our exchange and questioning. I yield back.
Wow. I didn't want to interrupt him there. I did, but I didn't. Because he said he just smacked the shit out of all of them.
He did. Laid it on the line.
He spanked them, and he spanked them publicly. And he did it in a way that they can't do anything. They couldn't come back against him as saying he said something wrong.
Yep.
He used court rulings. He used the Constitution and the simple fact that one thing we were all taught from day one in school and civics and American government and American history. You have the right to face your accuser, and you are innocent until proven guilty. They can't just come in and take things from you without you having the right to defend yourself.
This is true.
And that is the main purpose why I believe all red flag laws are unconstitutional. And
that's exactly it.
And I'm fighting with the state of, we had the red flag laws input here in Florida after the Parkland shooting.
Yep.
And it got rushed through. And I'm still fighting, trying to get those laws rescinded.
Well, you're not the only one.
So, but Nadler,
Nadler is a communist. He's all about control. He's an authoritarian.
Okay, but you want to know somebody who's even worse? Who's even worse? And he gets a lot of airtime from the Democrats. He's one of their go-to people.
Who's that?
Mr. Raskin.
Oh, yeah.
Move to strike the last word, Mr. Chairman.
So granted 5 minutes.
I wonder whether Mr. Raskin would yield to a series of questions.
By all means.
Thank you, Mr. Raskin. Just in reviewing the law and just sort of to take little of the heat and just discuss exactly what we have before us, I wanted to ask you if my reading of it is right in several respects, and a couple of questions that come from that. You're a constitutional law expert, as I understand. First of all, as I read it, the petition provision on page 4 says that essentially any family member or state or local law enforcement officer anywhere in the country can go to federal court to seek this kind of order. Isn't that right?
But anyone who has knowledge of the relevant facts of the person posing an imminent danger to himself or to others.
Yeah, and anywhere in the country. And of course, there are a lot of state courts that deal with domestic violence and all these things. So this would open up the federal courts to that. My understanding is the federal court system is limited has limited jurisdiction under the Constitution. It's limited to cases arising under federal law or disputes between citizens of different states, basically. I mean, there are a couple of things we could get into, but that's basically right, isn't it, Professor?
Yeah, you need to have federal jurisdiction.
Okay.
Okay. Now, do you see where he's going here?
Yep.
And see, Raskin is a piece of garbage. He's a piece of human garbage. He's a totalitarian. He really believes in the overall federal power to control our lives. I've yet to see him defend an individual right. And he really that an individual right that the government can't control. Let me say that correctly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Clarify.
Yeah, let me clarify that. He doesn't believe in an individual right that isn't controlled by the government.
Because the law would create the federal jurisdiction.
So this law, which confers jurisdiction on the federal court, would also be the federal law under which it arises for federal jurisdiction purposes?
Well, this is how all federal laws work.
Usually you have a substantive law created, and then separately Congress confers jurisdiction on federal courts, right?
Well, usually there's a jurisdictional component in the federal statute itself, establishing federal jurisdiction.
All right, so the way federal jurisdiction is founded here, if I understand correctly, is this language on page 12 about interstate commerce. And it says, and that's where it says, the court shall order the respondent to surrender all firearms and ammunition that the respondent possesses or owns in or affecting interstate commerce. That's what I think someone referred to it in their questioning earlier. I guess my question for you, Mr. Raskin, as I read it is, how does the mere ownership or possession of a gun, how can that be in or affecting interstate commerce?
Well, as I understand it, what we've done with all federal firearms regulations since the Lopez decision is to create that language that you just referenced. In other words, the statute says that the guns must relate to interstate commerce.
I'm asking a much more basic factual question. You might ask me if I were in your law school class, and that's to say, if I possess a gun or I own it and nothing else appearing, how does that affect, or how is that in interstate commerce?
Remember Chip brought this up.
Yep.
And Massey brought this up. Now they're talking to the guy that wrote the freaking bill. And listen to him tap dance about how this is affected, how this works. This is down and dirty government attempting to believe the rest of us are stupid and we can't read. We can't understand the Constitution. The perversion of the Constitution to meet their ends.
And the interstate commerce is commercial activity between states, isn't it? Or involving the pattern of interstate of business between states, among states.
Well, my understanding of this legislation is that it tracks the federal constitutional standard established in the Lopez decision.
Okay,
which said,
it must be a more complicated answer that can just be given factually. So let me just move on to something else then. As I was looking at pages 7 through 9, this is not only about a temporary deprivation for a few days or something like that. The court can enter an order, a long-term order for 180 days, and it looks like on pages 10 to 11, the court can renew the 180-day orders forever, potentially, without ever subjecting any of this to a jury or requiring any conviction of any wrong. Is that correct?
With notice and opportunity to be heard, and a judge deciding on a probable cause standard that the person presents an imminent risk of injury to himself or to others.
Doesn't make it better. Am I all alone here all of a sudden?
No, I forgot to unmute myself when I was scoffing there. Okay. But you would think that the 180 days they should be able to prove, and you have the right to defend yourself. How can you be in imminent danger 180 days and then another 180 days and another 180 days and another 180 days to where you don't have the right to defend yourself and face your accuser? This is a permanent subjugation of your rights without the ability to defend yourself. And Raskin wrote it in the law like that.
Yeah.
That's how they want it written into the law.
Wow. So he doesn't get
probable
he doesn't get a jury trial, and he doesn't ever have to be convicted of a crime, or she, and can lose their rights potentially indefinitely and potentially permanently by virtue of the extension of these orders every 180 days, right?
Well, that's right, because no one's being put in jail, no one's being convicted of a crime.
And that's
remember, this is
justifiable.
A prophylactic civil standard. It's a protective regulatory statute.
Let me ask.
Now, could you imagine if they did that with your voting rights?
Yeah.
If they can do this to your Second Amendment rights, what about your voting rights?
What about any of your rights?
Well, I'm just using the two big, the one that the Democrats, even showing an idea is a violation of your rights to vote. All right. But if they can use this to violate your Second Amendment rights, an enumerated right by itself, not like the First Amendment, which lists 4 different rights in it, but the Second Amendment, which is strictly about your God-given right to keep and bear arms. If they can do this to your Second Amendment rights, think what they could do to your First Amendment rights or your voting rights.
Yep. They can
Okay.
take away all your rights.
If they can do this to one, they can do this to all. And, just by the flip of a pen and the judgment and a ruling by a judge, you've never been convicted of a crime, but because we think you might be, we're going to take away your rights.
That's some Minority Report shit right there.
This is worse than Minority Report. This is, especially with the judges that they've been appointing.
Yep.
Think about it. The activist judges that have been getting through the Senate by 1-vote margins, by the slimmest of margins, getting through, that are going to be sitting in and have the right to take away your Second Amendment rights without you being able to present yourself, without being convicted of a crime. And this guy who is supposed to be a constitutional law professor is the one who wrote the bill and is supporting it and supporting that taking away of your rights.
Just one last thing, as long as we're talking. In the last hearing with the Attorney General present, and this was also something we were concerned about, people's rights, you said that Donald Trump, quote, has given license to the darkest impulses in right-wing politics and given rise to conspiracy theory-driven mob violence, not just at state capitals, like we saw in Lansing, Michigan, which was a dress rehearsal for the January 6th attack, but also it's in schools and school boards across the country. The School Boards Association has apologized to parents across the country for attributing to them the characteristics of domestic terrorists. Do you want to retract that comment, Mr. Raskin?
Retract what? There are lots of cases of people threatening school board members and teachers taking place across the country. I mean, are you denying that?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, threatening to vote them out.
All right.
Yeah, that's it. That exchange should have made national news.
It should have.
That exchange right there about how a judge, without convicting a person of a crime, can take away a enumerated right. And I don't care who you are, left, right, middle, up, or down, you should be against that if you're an American citizen and believe in the Constitution.
You should be afraid, very afraid.
A judge didn't know what a nolo contendere was? Holy shit.
Crap. Well, if that doesn't make you nervous, I don't know what would.
You're right, Becca. The 4th, the 5th, and the 14th are the main. The second is, that's the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
That whole exchange is being ignored by the media. That is outrageous. That something like that can happen. You got any comments there, Dar?
I do not, because it's, at this point, it's just going to devolve into me yelling and saying bad things I probably shouldn't. So I will leave that right there. I think we all are very aware of the totalitarian politicians that are out there and what they want to do to us. And I love how they try to put it on us as we're the ones causing all the problems.
Oh my God.
What?
Okay, I've got, what would be the absolute last thing that you would expect to see? The most outrageous thing that you would expect to see? Somebody dressing up, somebody with clothes on. Let's say a mayor of a very large city.
Okay.
What would be the last thing you would expect to see him dressed up as?
Donald Trump. That was supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
I have no idea. A dog?
How about de Blasio there, dressed up as a medical doctor on Star Trek?
No way.
You see it?
I see it. That is... Seriously?
Seriously. Now,
and look at that background.
They're saying he's dressed up as Kirk. Well, no, first of all, that's the medical uniform.
Yeah, that's McCoy's uniform.
That's not the captain's uniform.
Oh, there we go, nerding out.
Huh?
There we go, nerding out. We know the difference.
Yeah, I just saw that on I was looking through Twitter for something for a palate cleanser.
Oh my
something
God,
that we could actually talk about without yelling and screaming for a few seconds.
What a dumbass.
Yep. And that okay. That happened. Yeah, Sam Reskin, says Mayor Bill de Blasio dressed as Captain Kirk. Now he's not dressed up as Captain Kirk.
Yeah, that's wrong color.
You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I mean, hell, he may even be dressed up as Spock, because Spock wore blue.
Yeah, he could very well be dressed up as Spock.
So
that looks more like McCoy's uniform than Spock's.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Becca.
Oh, somebody done it. Somebody fixed it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they fixed it. Got him as a red shirt.
Yeah. See, I was about to say that. I would much rather see him as a red shirt.
Yeah, somebody managed to fix that up, so I'm happy. I'm
Yeah.
happy.
See, as a red shirt, I appreciate that much more.
Yeah, I do too. And yeah, the experts on Twitter are saying he's dressed more like Spock than anybody else.
Yeah.
So everybody jumped to Spock, so I'll go with that.
Yeah, I would too.
I mean, it doesn't really matter because they both wore blue.
Yeah.
So, only problem is to say that he's as smart as Spock.
Yeah, that's not even the case.
Yeah, not even the case. So, oh, okay. Well, I have done what I could do for the day.
Okay.
And I've really got nothing else here because of the simple fact that I guess both of us don't want to. I mean, I've got no problem getting angry, as we know.
Yeah, neither do I.
And this whole mess with with Raskin and the Democrats attempting to federalize the Second Amendment and basically take away its status as an enumerated right without amending the Constitution. Doing it by fiat and legislative process. That and it's always amazed me that they feel that they can put this. One of the questions I usually ask a Democrat, somebody who supports controls on the Second Amendment, how would they feel about those same controls being put against the First Amendment and the right to vote? The exact same controls. You have to have a background check before you're allowed to vote. You have to wait 3 days before you're allowed to vote.
Yep.
You have to have a permit to have the right to vote. So there's if your right to vote is misused, you go to jail.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I watching those videos last night and early this morning. We had thunder here last night, and the dog woke me up. He needed some attention with the thunder.
Yeah.
So fortunately, I got the phone next to my bed, and while I'm keeping him from trying to keep him from waking up the wife, I sat here and watched some videos and saw those, and I added them to my Angry Shroom file. That's the nice thing I do like about YouTube is I can save videos to different files, and anything that I'm going to use for this program goes to my Angry Shroom file.
Nice.
So, did you know that Clockwork Rex is now doing a stream?
I did. Found out about that yesterday.
Yes, so, as did I. I went over and subbed. I highly recommend people go to Clockwork Rex and sub to him. If you aren't sub to him, let me get a where is it? Here we go. Post his link. He is going to be doing a live stream of Dawn of the Dead, the black and white one.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I just found out about it. So I ran over and subbed yesterday to him. So people, please go over, support the man. And, he's streaming late at night for me. At least he was last night. It was after 11 o'clock. So I couldn't listen to his whole stream because I was trying to get some sleep. But I listened to about 15, 20 minutes of it. And then he only streamed for like a half an hour or so. So I listened to the rest of it this morning. So, yeah, I'm sitting here looking at his video. Oh, he's got 241 subs. Damn.
Moving on up.
Yeah, he's got 5 times mine. Yeah, I've got 64 subs. So what am I doing boosting him?
It should be the other way around, damn it.
He should be boosting me. Where it says get his 241. Now, who is it? Ramen. Ramen has asked me to do a Ask Me Anything at 100 subs.
Oh.
All right. So what I will do at 100 subs is I will ask me almost anything. Or you can ask me anything, and I reserve the right to tell you none ya.
There you go.
None ya business. He'll go on for over an hour if he falls asleep while live. I have almost fallen asleep while being live. I've almost done it twice. Yes. Where I've worked third shift and then attempted to do a stream at 9 o'clock. And around 10 o'clock or so, I've, caught myself starting to nod a little bit. So, yeah, it's almost happened to me. But Rex is known for it. Okay, like I said, I did not know that. I did not know that he streamed until yesterday. So, but still, I imagine everybody that subbed to me has already subbed to him. But I'll give, somebody new may pop up.
Yeah.
That's all I got, and it's been an hour and 48 minutes. Unless somebody else has got something that they want to go on, I guess I got no reason to try to stretch it to 2 hours.
I got nothing that I would go on and on about.
I
Plus, we're coming up on
Becca, I think I've already passed my 100th stream. So let's see. How many videos do I have? I don't know. Let's see here. I don't know how many videos I've got. So let me go here, go to my channel, videos. Let's see here. There are 5 across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 2. So I've got 120 or 110 videos out there. So I'm well over 100 streams. I knew I was over 100 streams because I've been doing it more than 20 weeks. So, granted, I only stream on average 4 days a week, but that's beside the point.
They add up quick, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Well, thank you, Becca. I appreciate you thinking I covered some good stuff today. It was pretty varied. The stuff with the schools, I don't see how any school, I don't care if you are the most isolated school in the country, I don't see how any school board principal in the country could be ignorant of what's going on right now nationwide and then approve what happened in Hazard County. I just don't see it.
Neither do I. I don't get it. Don't want to get it.
And I said yesterday, and I'll say it again today, every one of those people that were involved in that, from the school board approving it down to that principal getting twerked against like that, should be arrested and charged with child abuse at the minimum.
Yeah, and I want to know where the parents are on all this,
Yep. I'd like to know how many parents knew about what was going on. So, Raman, I'm sorry I'm bringing that subject up again, but that was nonsense. But anyway, okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead. I want to redo our thumbnail for tomorrow, since tomorrow is our Halloween special. But so this will give me a few extra minutes to work on that. But anyway, everybody try to have a good day. Dar, thanks for coming on. Raman, thank you for coming on. Becca, Neil, Sean. Who else popped in that today? I had quite a few people pop in and out.
Yeah, good.
Which was nice to see. A lot of names. Anyway, I appreciate everybody that comes. I'm sorry?
Don't forget Sean. He's one of our regular listeners.
Yeah, Sean. I thought I said Sean, but if I didn't say him, I'll say him again. But I appreciate everybody that comes out and listens to me rant and rave for a few minutes. Even if you just do, my monkey streams, I rarely listen to him live.
I never get to listen to him live anymore, it seems like.
If he does a after party in the morning, I can listen to that live. But I always save his monkey in the morning stream for my first couple hours at work.
Yeah.
Except, because of the simple fact it gives me something nice to listen to while I'm sitting there messing with these individuals. But anyhow, if you're listening to me later, I appreciate you. If you're listening to me live, I do. And we will talk to all of y'all later. Tomorrow is going to be another book stream. We're covering horror books. We usually try to get through 50. Tomorrow, I'll be surprised if we hit 100. I'll be surprised if we hit 25.
Yeah.
All right. And then I'd be surprised if we manage to cover 15 when we do Stephen King.
Yep.
Because
that's going to be some long discussions.
We all have lot of opinions on Stephen King. So anyway, everyone, please be with the ones that you love and love the ones that you're with. Have a good day, and we'll be back tomorrow. Bye, y'all.
All right, everybody. Read more books. Have fun.
Enjoy.